Your latest news update from Western Mass News.
I'm Chris Bizzano with a look at your headlines. The fallout between the East Hampton School Committee and the community continues amidst the controversial superintendent search. After a petition for signatures was started to recall the school committee chairperson, there's now another one to recall the mayor, Nicole LaChapelle. Organizers say they have the minimum 400 signatures to keep that petition against the mayor alive and will submit the paperwork next week. Much of the Northeast remained under an air quality alert Wednesday, including Western Mass, due to smoke from wildfires in Canada that lingered in the air at low altitudes. Local medical experts say they're seeing an uptick in calls from people who are having trouble breathing, and they recommend anyone who's having chest pains or difficulty breathing to mask up and avoid, if possible, going outside. A woman arrested in Springfield after police seized a loaded shotgun. Police responded to the area of Walnut and King Streets Tuesday, where officers found a vehicle suspected to be involved with a previous incident. After searching the car, police found a loaded shotgun and unspent shotgun shells. 46-year-old Tammy Ragan of Connecticut was arrested and now faces numerous firearms charges. Police say she also had several warrants out for her arrest.
I'm meteorologist Jana Brown with an update on your forecast. Now, we do have that air quality alert for today that's up until midnight tonight. We've been dealing with level 3 and level 4 air quality levels, which is basically, unhealthy to unhealthy for sensitive groups. So it's on the lower end of the scale. We definitely are continuing to improve in terms of our air quality. Another alert will be issued for Western Mass tomorrow, but it's on the lower end of the scale for impacts. Now, the worst of the air quality, of course, being felt farther to our south and west. So tomorrow, while some of us may have a few issues, the majority of folks across Western Mass won't have any breathing difficulty. Air quality continues to improve. We'll have cloudy skies, cool temperatures, and a chance for a couple of showers. Highs only making it into the low to mid 60s with a northwest breeze. Friday, temperatures back to 70 with scattered showers and a few thunderstorms for the afternoon and evening. And then Saturday, low to mid 70s with some sunshine. Chance for an isolated shower or thunderstorm. Sunday is looking dry, sunny, and 80, but early to mid next week, we do have increasing threats for rain due to another upper level low, this time to our north and west. The good news is temperatures will stay on the warmer side.
Stay with Western Mass News on air, online, and on our app throughout the day for breaking news, weather, and exclusive content.